We have been friends for a while. Chris Camozzi. Chris, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Not too bad. Wanted to get you on, talk a little bit about this. I was going to say little, but it's big. Big fight next month. Title on the line. First and foremost, give me your. First and foremost, how are you doing? How is everyone out west?
Oh, we're doing great. I'm enjoying the summer. I'm not ready for the winter and the snow to come because, but yeah, everything's great. Training camp's going great and having a blast.
Well, first, thanks for clarifying what winter is, because living in Florida, I don't know what snow and weather and all that stuff, what that even means. We came out to Denver, I think it was for a BKFC, November, December. I had to go to Salvation Army and buy something called a jacket.
Yeah, those are weird.
I'm not even sure what that means. So thank you for clarifying that first and foremost. Title fight on the line. Give me your thoughts on Lorenzo Hunt. We were just talking about him. I don't like the antics. I don't like all the shenanigans. I don't think you're that type of guy. But give me your thoughts, and can you be kind of riled into playing that game with him?
I mean, listen, it's not really my style, but he has brought a lot of eyeballs to the sport. He's done a good job promoting bare knuckle. But, yeah, it's not really my thing. Now, again, I won't take any of his shit, and maybe that's why we haven't seen any of his antics this time. Because so far, he's been pretty quiet, which I was actually surprised about.
Well, first, let me jump in before I get yelled at by my producer back to the station. Just to clarify, you said ship, S-H-I-P, just so people know.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, there it is.
Okay, appreciate it. And the thing that I dislike most, and I've talked to Lorenzo about it, and, when I don't like something, I'm going to say it. I don't like the act. I mean, if you are like that, but Lorenzo's really not like that. He's doing it to sell fights, to sell the promotion, to sell tickets. And I just want this to be real. The UFC's, back in the time, as real as it gets. Bare knuckle, as real as it gets. That's the way I want to keep it.
Yeah, I can understand that. I haven't had a ton of interactions with him, but from what I hear, he's a nice guy. But at the end of the day, we're going to be punching each other without gloves, so being nice or not doesn't really matter.
People always ask bare knuckle fighters the difference between, the bare knuckle and with gloves and blah, 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 blah. I don't think anybody's asked, and I am curious about this. I don't want to know what the difference before the fight is. What's the difference after? How beat up are you? A lot of talk has been that, within days you're ready to get back in the gym, where when you're fighting MMA, it's not that case. So I'm curious, what is the difference after a fight between bare knuckle and MMA?
Well, I've been on a fortunate run here where I haven't taken much damage in the last few fights, so I couldn't tell you too much about that. Other than, my hands are quite a bit more sore. If you don't hit the knuckles flush, there's little parts of your hand that get banged up. I would say my hands were probably a little bit sore for a couple weeks, but nothing too bad at all. But on the other side, I've seen some people get really ripped up, and stitches heal quick, so it's not too big of a deal to me.
Since you did bring that up, and I did write it down, 2-0 total time in the squared circle of bare knuckle, 2 minutes and 37 seconds. How do you prepare to fight a guy like Lorenzo, which is going to be nothing like the other two guys that you've already fought?
I prepare the same way every time. I never plan on it being quick. I'm ready to go all 5 rounds at, full speed, because coming from MMA, I'm used to doing 5-minute rounds anyway. So those 2-minute rounds go by pretty quick. But yeah, I mean, I never go in with the mentality that like, oh, this is going to be quick or easy, because both guys I fought previously were tough guys that had a big history in combat sports. And, I planned on it being a war. So every single time I go in with that mentality, but I also go in with the thought of like, I'm looking to kill, I'm looking to finish as fast as I can.
I see what you're doing. It's okay. He said kill. I'm okay with kill.
He said war.
I know he said war. We'll discuss that later. But kill is different.
So Chris, listen. So Randy's voice obviously grew into it. He now has a professional sounding
a
radio
1970s
voice.
DJ voice.
But look, he would tell you if his voice wasn't sore, but I'm the king of pizza. I invented the pizza diet. I became a professional bodybuilder eating pizza. And I'm on your app. I'm on Jiu-Jitsu on the go. and I see a maneuver called the pizza flip in jiu-jitsu, and I don't know anything about it. So can you please tell the fans like what it is, how to get involved, and how I can take the challenge?
The pizza flip, I'd have to check. We've got there's a whole group of us that upload content on there, and the content that comes from all over the world on my app. So I'm not familiar with that one. I am familiar with the pizza diet, though, and I'm all about it.
Yeah, well, I invented that, but I want to learn this pizza flip and talk about the Jitsu on the Go app. Like how do people get involved in it? How can they register or sign up and be a part of this movement?
Yeah, the app is available on Apple and Android, so you can get it in your app store, or you can go to jjotg.com. And what it is I own part of it, but I'm not the only one on there teaching and doing instructionals. We've got some of the best coaches in the world on there, whether it's jiu-jitsu, wrestling, MMA, kickboxing. We're just always trying to upload content that anybody can use, whether you've never stepped foot in a gym or you're a professional fighter.
So, Matt, do you seem to think that if you get on this app, you're going to be able to learn enough jiu-jitsu for your jiu-jitsu beat down that you're about to get?
Well, I feel like if there's a move called the pizza flip and I can master that, I can be the world champ.
Yeah, whatever.
I'm undefeated in pizza shop.
You just believe it.
Yeah. See, Matt.
Yeah.
Matt doesn't go by if he believes it enough that he thinks it'll come true until it doesn't, and then he'll be like, what happened? Chris, talk about the whole Denver area, the whole area of Colorado. People don't realize what a fight city and what a fight state that is.
Yeah, I mean, Denver is a huge fight city, like you said, but we're also just, in general, a huge sports city. I mean, the Nuggets just won the championship. The Broncos obviously have a diehard fan base for life. You got the Avalanche. Denver is all about sports. We're a big, active city. Colorado's an active state. People are hiking, running all year round. So sports do really well here, and Bare Knuckle has sold out both shows that come here, and there's a reason for it. One, the local guys that they put on. I started my career here, and I've always had a big following here. Same with Josh Copeland, Brandon Gertz. There's a ton of guys, and we plan on blowing the roof off this one too.
How big can you see, and we have Dave Feldman on a regular basis, and I remember asking the guys back in the early UFC days, how big, how long, what do you think? How big do you think Bare Knuckle can go? I mean, it's blowing up. I understand that, and I understand that it's going to continue blowing up, but how big do you think it can be?
I think it can be huge. I think it can be one of the biggest sports in the world because there is a long history to Bare Knuckle. It's not BKFC has just started, but we're talking, 1700s, 1800s, like bare knuckle boxing was a thing, fisticuffs. But I think that if you look at today's day and age, TikTok and all that stuff, the attention span of people is getting shorter and shorter and shorter. So when you have 2-minute rounds and there's so many quick finishes in bare knuckle, it appeals to everybody because it keeps their attention. The excitement level is nonstop.
I want to be careful how I say this, so I'm going to think about it. There's a reason that I am a licensed judge for amateur fights.
Why is that? Let's hear it.
Well, you just said why, because amateur fights are shorter. Just like bare knuckle fights are shorter in time. 3 minutes for me is max. When you're talking 5-minute rounds, that's where I start losing it. So I get what you were just saying about bare knuckle with shorter rounds. I do think that is one of the reasons that it has the potential, to blow everything else out of the water.
Yeah, and you see, obviously I love MMA. I've spent my life doing it. I love jiu-jitsu and all aspects of it. But the casual person, the average person that doesn't train, doesn't always understand what's going on when they're pushing against the cage or when they're on the ground. But everybody understands a fist fight. They know who's winning, who's losing. It doesn't really take a lot of education and knowledge to be able to watch that and figure out who's winning.
What do you think about, and we are talking to Chris Camozzi, September, I think it's 22nd out in Denver, fights Lorenzo Hunt for the title. There's a big difference between bare knuckle boxing and bare knuckle fighting. And I think there are a few they use the boxing per se, but I think Lorenzo falls into, he doesn't necessarily box. He just goes out there and swings and fights.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, it's a little bit more of a brawl than regular boxing because the repercussions are so high. You can get cut a lot easier. It doesn't take as much to knock somebody out or do a lot of damage without those gloves on. So it can turn into a little bit more of a brawl. Plus, BKFC, I don't know about the other organizations, but BKFC allows the clinch. You can tie up with one arm, where in boxing you can't. I can grab the back of your head with one arm and punch with the other, where that's illegal in boxing. So it does add a little bit of like grappling, wrestling technique in there. Call it a tie clinch, even if you want, single arm. But it does change the dynamic a little bit because I think that's a super effective technique for me, whereas I wouldn't be able to do that in boxing.
Right.
So Chris, and along with that training and getting ready for everything, I don't know how close you are to Highlands Ranch in Colorado, but my partners own a vertical gym, a conditioning training studio. If you wanted to get some training in before the fight next month, I could set it up. I sent you a direct link on Instagram. If you're interested after the show, contact Randy. I'll put you in touch with my partners, but we'll train you for free, man.
I'm surprised you didn't say you were going to jump in the Jeep and head out there.
That's a long way. Denver's far. I got to go to Miami tomorrow. So BKFC tryouts tomorrow night. So, but anyway, Chris, I sent you a direct link. It's vertical conditioning. It helps with the fight game. It strengthens your internal connective tissue. It will get you ready for the fight. And I own 2 mobile versions in Florida, but my partners have a studio in Highlands Ranch. So anytime you want to use it, it's always available, brother.
Yeah, I would love to check it out. I'm always looking for new and better ways to train. That's what kept me in the sport so long.
Sir.
Perfect. Chris, thank you very much for your time. I'm going to try to book a flight and get out there so I can be there and support you and be there for this event. As always, thank you for your time. I know we have your address. We're going to send you another care package from 8 Man Strong, as well as one from Bucked Up Energy Drink as well.
Oh, amazing. Thank you guys so much. And shout out to Bucked Up Energy. They're going to be sponsoring me for this fight too.
Nice. Perfect. We'll talk to you again soon. Chris Camozzi, everybody, been involved and been on Knockout Radio for a long, long time. Let's go hit our first break. Maybe I'll find a portion of my voice by the we come back.
Don't do it. This is finally professional.
This is Knockout Radio, brought to you by 8 Man Strong, Staff Zone, and Bucked Up Energy Drink.